We're live.
Not yet.
There might be.
Yes, we are now.
Okay. So it's exciting to be here with you, Tati. Hi, everyone who is watching live and who is watching in the future. My name is Daniella. I'm based out of Guatemala. I'm a psychologist and I'm a mental health advocate. And I really enjoy talking about mental health. And rather than enjoy, I know how important it is to make it more visible and accessible all over the world. And I'm excited to be here sharing with my colleague, Tati.
Yes, so hello everyone. It's very nice to be here again with Dani talking about empathy or something about emotional intelligence. I am from Brazil. I am a psychologist too, and I am like an ambassador of emotional intelligence. So I really love talking about this kind of matter. And today we are here to discuss this topic about empathy that is a very important one, and we are being very demanded by the world that we live and all the challenges that we face on the society. So I think this is going to be very helpful for everyone that is watching now or is going to watch in the future this live.
Exactly. Yes. And I think we hear the word empathy a lot, but maybe we don't discuss it as much. So I think it's a good idea and part of the reason we chose to start with this topic because I'm hoping we'll get more spaces like this in the future where Tati and I can share and
Yes,
discuss, talk about
yes.
mental health.
And the good thing is that we are on YouTube, and on YouTube you can translate it automatically for Spanish, Portuguese, and here we are talking English because it's a global language, and we would like to reach every word. Let's say like this.
Yeah.
So we have prepared four main questions, I would say, to discuss about empathy. And the first one that I and Dani, we are going to share a little bit about our opinions about it. Of course, there is a lot of concepts in the books and the researches, but we are going to share our point of view about what is empathy as psychologists, right, Dani?
Exactly.
So if you want to start, I promise I'm not going to copy you, okay?
Yeah, of course. I guess for me, the best way to explain or to talk about empathy is basically being present and listening without judgment. Um, Most of the times, or maybe not most of the times, but many of the times, we tend to hear someone, but automatically start thinking on what am I going to answer, or how I would do it differently, or what am I imagining this person is feeling or is going to say. But empathy is that ability to like truly understand or try to understand and connect with whatever that person is going through, and that is done basically by being present, by being there and actually listening to the person and allowing yourself to feel with the other person. It's not about like fixing or advising or rescuing anyone. It's just like if it was raining and you were to sit in the rain with that person instead of running towards him or her and taking them out of the rain.
Mhm. Yeah, very nice what you said about listening and being there, listening to the person, aware of what is happening, because I would say this is the challenge of the moment. And it's very common. You see two people talking, and one of them looking, uh-huh, uh-huh. So it's not empathy. This is sympathy. It's a very good point. I usually say that empathy is our ability to put away our history and try to understand our history and our perception, and try to understand the other one perception and the other one history. And I usually take some example, like imagine a situation that you see a blind person trying to waiting, not trying, waiting to cross the street. And then in your history and your perception, you think, if I was blind, I would like that someone help me to cross the street. But this is your history, this is your perception. So put it away, and you need to find out in if this blind person history and perception, this person would like to receive the help. So not come and just start helping. Ask the person. Here I am giving you some spoiler from the last answer of our questions, but that's it. Try to put your history and your perception away and find out what is the history and the perception of the other person you are talking or you are trying to help in some way.
Yes, exactly. And I believe that's the difference, or that's a key component maybe of the empathy, that sometimes it's hard to stop your mind from going there, like what I would do, what I think, what I feel, and kind of lower volume to that inner voice and just listen to what the other person is feeling, what the other person is saying, and not just saying with words, but actually like listening um, completely, right?
Mhm.
And so to jump into the next topic,
Yes.
from what you said, also, it's important for us to know that all of us experience the world differently. It's like if we were using glasses with different colors. If I were to wear the ones that are red, for example, all of my vision would be red. And if someone using green lenses tells me everything's green, then we wouldn't be on the same page, because we would be fighting that no, I have the truth and
Mhm.
everything is red. And then the other person would be no, I have the entire truth because everything's green. When actually we can see each other and see that none of us have the same glasses, none of us have the same perspective, emotion, personal history, and that makes us have different perspectives from the situation. And I'm not sure if it translates, maybe yes, but in Spanish, we say like empathy is the same as wearing the other person's shoes. But I'm
Mhm.
completely agreeing with that um, phrase. Why? Because the shoes from another person might not be the same size, might not be your same likes. It could be that you don't like the color or the shape, or even the shoe itself is not comfortable. So I don't think empathy is actually wearing the other person's shoes, but remembering that they have other types of realities, other types of um, history, other types of perspectives. And from that source, that is how we then face the world. And so rather than making it your reality and trying to say, I need to feel this so that I understand the other person, is make peace with the idea that you won't feel the same thing, but
Mhm.
listening and just being there, it's the empathy that the person will take advantage from the most. It's about setting
Mhm.
aside any assumptions or being open to seeing life through someone else's eyes, even if their experience is completely different from yours. And yeah, basically, one of the biggest challenges in empathy is avoiding that urge to like measure someone else's experience based on your standards. So instead of doing that, maybe try practicing that curiosity and asking questions like, what is this like for you, or how do you feel, instead of assuming that you understand, right? So make that shift to make the difference, and actually ask what the other person is feeling, even if you cannot feel it yourself, because that's basically impossible.
Yes, and it's we can just think about twins. They were usually born in the same day. They usually looks like the same person, but since from they are kids, they are receiving the messages from the world in very different way of each other, and they grow with different personalities. And when we talk about everyone feels in a different way, we are talking about these personalities. We are talking about the feelings and how these connections are being constructed in our brain in some way.
Mhm.
I would say that everyone is an universe.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know that that band Coldplay. They have a music that is universe, my universe. I think
Hmm. Hmm.
so. I think this is a very great song and make us to think that everyone is like a different universe.
Hmm.
Okay, and so let's go to the third topic.
Yeah.
Okay. And if you have any questions, I see that there is 5 people watching us now. Please feel free to put your questions, even if it's in Portuguese or Spanish or English, put it on the chat and in any time, and we are going to answer you maybe at the same time or we let to the end if it makes more sense. Okay. The third topic is more about using empathy to protect yourself in some way, because we talk a lot about being empathy in with other person, and it looks like there is some ability to how can I say, to treat other person or other people well, but it's too a very good ability to yourself and to deal with the situations of your social groups in a better way. So think about a situation that makes you feel very bad, that someone told you something very bad and it made you to feel very sad or very example. In this moment, you can use empathy to protect yourself, trying to understand of this person, the perception of this person, to understand why this person treated you bad. Maybe it was a man or a woman. This man treated you bad because this is the way he always react. So see this word react and not act consciously. So he reacted in some situation, but it's not about you. It's about this person. Every time that he or she thinks he loses control, he became temperamental, for example. And this is about his history, his perception of the world, not about you. And if you have empathy with this person, you are going to put his glasses and not his shoes. Let's change his glasses and see, every time I think that I lose control of something, I get angry. It's not about Tati, it's about me because I feel angry because I lose control. Then you put the glasses again and come back to your space and think, okay, I am Tati. It's not about me. I will go on with my life.
Hmm.
Um, so it's a tip already. If you have some difficult people that lives with you, and it's very difficult to deal with this kind of people in your daily basis, try to remember that it's not about you. It's about that person and the way that person react to the situations. Um, Usually, if we are talking about family or we are talking about work, usually this person is the client. The client is there pressuring you. You need to deliver something or you need to do something for the client and he's very angry. So try to put the glasses of this client. Probably someone is requesting this client to get it done, or this client can't see what you are doing in your work and he or she can't see when you are going to finish your work. The client is blind about what to expect of your work, and then you are being very empathic with the client, trying to understand his situation, and put the glasses again. And okay, so I'm going to explain about my work. I'm going to explain about deadlines, and this is going to make your situation very uh, um, better and happy. And the client will be very happy too.
Yeah, and I think yeah, that exercise of putting on the glasses and taking them off also kind of adds a perspective. Like you take a step back instead of like going forward trying to defend yourself or going like automatically angry or something like that. Like taking that step back and saying, okay, what of this situation is actually related to me and something that I am doing, and what
Mhm,
has nothing to do with me. And that distance also makes it a little less heavy, I would say.
mhm. And we are psychologists, so let's defend the psychology therapy. If you go to do some therapy, this is going to be very easy for you, or maybe it's going to be a way for you to get faster. And why you are putting so much, how can I say, you are making this situation that you are not able to have empathy with the other person too heavy in your life, because sometimes we are projecting our history in other person too, that, and this other person are projecting their history in us, and then we have a mess here. And we can't find out alone because we are in this mess. So usually when you go to the therapy with a psychologist, you probably are going to organize this mess, and you are going to find out what is your perception and history that is mixing here, and separate this from the other person. One
Mhm.
example here, people that are very, that has some position of authority in our life, and this kind of people in some situation was very rude with us. Okay, authority and rude. This makes me remember in my history that my dad, that is authority too in my life, and he usually was very rude with me when I was a kid.
Mhm.
This, it was a trigger to that memory in consciousness. So I'm not aware about this. This is in my unconscious, and uh, it was a trigger to be very sad with the situation with my boss or someone that has authority in my life, and I am not aware about this mess. So I am projecting the relationship I had with my dad with this person that is the same kind of role in my life nowadays. Do you
Mhm.
agree, Danny? Do you receive a lot of cases like this too?
Yes. I think it's inevitable because in some ways we're always like impacted by our history, as we've been saying. And so, like you said, there are triggers that maybe we haven't made conscious yet, or we haven't paid attention yet, but that's also preventing us from being or practicing empathy, because we are triggered to something that happened before, and so we connect the dots and make it like the same thing, but it's not the same thing. We're just making it the same thing because it seems familiar to us
Yeah,
and our history.
yeah. And if we are not aware about this, then we start living our life in this big mess in every situation, and then we just react, and we are just living like robots because we are not aware about our emotions, about our thoughts, and we never stop it to pay attention on this.
Yeah. And I think it's a good segue to one of the questions we just received. So I'm just going to display it here. Do you want? Oh, thank you.
Yes.
I'm going to go ahead and answer this. In your opinion, what is the biggest challenge in exercising empathy?
Hmm. I would say the biggest challenge is to in the beginning to remember to practice in the whole time of your life because usually I always say that uh, this kind of ability, this kind of skill, we can develop in our life, in our brain. We don't born knowing how to do it. We need to learn and we need to practice a lot, like going to the gym or like learning how to drive. We learn and then we need to practice to create these neural connections in our brain. So in the beginning, when you learn what is empathy, so now you are watching this live, you learn, you know what is empathy, you need to start practicing. And practicing is remember the whole time to putting the other one glasses and then putting back. And what happened is we usually remember to be empathic when we have a bad situation or when we have a big situation that we remember, okay, so I should have some empathy now. Usually when there is a bad situation, because in our society usually people talk about empathy just when someone die or something very bad happen. But we should we not can we should practice it all of the time, in good moments, in bad moments, in neutral moments. So I think in the beginning the biggest challenge is to remember to practice it the whole time, 24 hours per day, even when we are sleeping. No, I'm kidding.
Your dreams,
In
yeah.
our dreams, remember to be empathic in your dreams.
Yeah, yeah. I guess for me, if I were to choose, I think one of the biggest challenges in being or practicing empathy is being comfortable with the uncomfortable. Because sometimes, like, when we see, especially if it's someone that we care about a lot and we see that they're having a hard time, for example, we want them to go past it like quickly because it's uncomfortable for us to see them there. And it comes from a good place because I want to see you that you are doing the best or having the best life. And I think that is one of the challenges that prevents us from practicing empathy, because instead of listening, instead of being there and just being there with the uncomfortableness, we want to get out of there and get you out of there as quickly as possible. And with that, the answer that normally comes through is, how can I fix this like quickly? But the people are not normally asking for you to fix it.
Mhm. Yes, yes, it's a very good perception. And in this kind of situation, we usually are just acting with sympathy because it's so discomfortable for us to talk about some topics that we are not prepared to. And here is a good thing, that we need to respect ourselves too. I always say that there is a difference about empathy and sympathy, but there is no problem of not reacting, but behaving in a sympathy way. If you are not okay, or if you are not comfortable to go deeper in some topic with someone, or you are not prepared, but use it in a good very sense. So how can I say, if I ask someone, hi, how are you, just because I am polite, and I'm not able at the moment to talk about it because I am passing through a bad moment in my life too. I'm just being sympathetic, and it's okay. Don't don't ask for yourself too much. But
Mm.
if the other person in some moment really needs to talk with you and has passing through a bad moment for some days, and in one of these moments you ask, hi, how are you, and the person say, I'm really not so good, if you are comfortable to talk about it, you can say, okay, I'm here to listen to you. And if you are not comfortable, don't be afraid to say, i am I am I'm not in a good way now to talk about this too, so let's talk in the next week.
Yes.
um,
Yes, and that's also very brave.
this is
Sometimes
to
it's hard to do that. The stopping and maybe like, yeah, being completely honest with the other person to say, you know what, I listen, like I know you're not doing good, but I also know that I'm not doing good. So this might not be the best time for us
mhm,
to talk. Let's talk
mhm,
in the future.
mhm.
I think that's something very brave and sometimes hard to do, but it's very important because
Yeah.
then we know that if we're going to listen, it's because we have the
Mhm,
capacity mentally, emotionally, timely to really
mhm,
invest in that other person.
mhm. And it makes me remember another kind of question that people usually do to me. That is, okay, I practice a lot of empathy, but if the other person are not being empathic with me, what should I do?
Mm.
What should you do, Danny?
The first thing that comes to my mind, and I always say this, I know it sounds like very like if it was in a dream, maybe. Not sure if that's the correct word, but no, I know this for a fact that we learn by example. I'm not sure if everyone learns, but if I am showing how empathy looks and I keep on like setting that example, eventually my ideal would be that everyone learns. That might not be the case, but at least I am setting that standard and I'm setting that example of how empathy looks and how it feels. And maybe, just maybe, if the person feels that, then eventually I'll get it back. What
Mhm.
would you say?
Yeah. Uh, I think to resolve the some situation that someone is not having empathy, we need to resolve asking. So if I feel the other person are not having empathy with me, I would uh, support her to start asking me, or support her to start answering some things that I think it should be very important for the person to know about me, about what I am feeling, what I am thinking, and then ask the person what else would like to know about me or about what I am thinking now to make things clear.
Mm-hmm.
I would do the inverse, no? Because one tip that I would say to you, if how can you be more empathic with other person, is asking. So remember the blind guy? Don't go there and take the person, let's cross the street, you know? Now ask, would like some help to cross this street? So I'm going to ask the person.
Mm-hmm.
So if someone are not having empathy with me and the other person should ask the question to me to have empathy, but the person are not aware about this, I will start answering some questions
Mm.
and ask the person, okay, there is anything more you would like to know to help us to be in the same page, to make the things clear.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I like our two answers because it's kind of like teaching both
Mm-hmm.
passively and actively. Like mine is like you are watching it and eventually you might get it. And then yours
Mm-hmm.
is more like here's the information, like
Mm-hmm.
a little more of a push, I would say, to
Mm-hmm.
direct
Yeah.
that person to practice empathy. So
Yes.
in general, how um, would you suggest that the people listening to this can improve their empathy?
So the first tip is ask. Don't be afraid about asking questions to the other person. You are not comfortable of, you are not knowing what is happening, and you don't know the history or the way this other person see the world. So ask. And a second tip that I use it a lot when I was teaching some colleagues in my work, for example, is to explain something to the person, or to I don't know. Usually, when I was teaching something, I explain the thing, I explain the process, and then I ask to the other person to explain to me again.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now I explained everything. Now explain for me how, like I am a new person too, and then I could find the gaps that I had about the explaining something that this person should understand. And if the way that this person got the information is the way I was trying to send the message.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I love that one specifically, the last one, because it's interesting like when you say something and then ask the other person to repeat it back. It's so interesting to listen to what they listened. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's interesting because you notice like if they were paying attention or if maybe their subjectivity was getting in the way, or if they really didn't listen at all, or if they got it exactly the same.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's interesting to see that. And also for the person that's repeating it, we're also exercising the brain because it's not only what we listened, but now we are
Yeah.
saying it and listening to ourselves. So it's also another way to process the information. So I
Mm-hmm.
really love that tip.
And to create the neural connection in the brain repeating the information.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Um, I would
And do
add,
you kind of tips?
yeah, I would add some other tips or recommendations. Um, and I think it goes hand in hand with the asking. So if you ask, or even if you haven't asked, but just listen, like we said at the beginning, it's not the same as if I'm listening, but I'm on the phone, as Tati said, or if I'm listening, but I'm also remembering of all the things that I want to do next or I forgot to do. Like really listen, active listening to the other person, and give them space so that they can share and without any rush, because sometimes it happens as well, like no, this person is talking too much, I want them to like finish already, and that is also preventing us from listening. Then I would also say step into different perspectives, like as a preparation before having to use that empathy muscle, I would say try reading, try watching movies, try talking to people in different scenarios to expand, or to make yourself more aware that there are different experiences and that there are different perspectives. And so, with that awareness, you can then be more empathic with other others as well. And then be patient. I guess this also comes hand in hand with what I was saying before. Be patient and be at peace with the idea that you don't have the answer and you might not be able to fix it or make it better. And that's okay. It's not your job to do that. It's sometimes it's even better if you just even say that, like, I don't know what to do, I don't know what to say, but I'm here and I I will be there if you need me to, whatever it is that the other person.
Mhm.
So those would be my recommendations.
Mhm. Yes. This is like a way of being more human, I would say.
Mhm.
And talk about being human, but talking about working with technology too. Remembering a thing that it's very funny for reflecting and discussing, maybe in a next life, because we are living in a world that we have artificial intelligence,
Mhm.
and it's like the boom of the moment. And I don't know how much you that are watching us now or are going to watch us work or use AI in your role. But it's something that is pushing us to be more empathic. I don't know if you have thought about this, but when you are going to ask something for an AI,
Mhm.
you need to put all the details, and you need to put your point of view to be more assertive in what you are asking for AI to do for you.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
we call it a prompt. So when you are going to put some prompt to AI, you need to explain it very well. If you just put something like, I want you to create a graphic for me, you are not being empathic with the situation, and AI can create all kinds of graphics for you.
Mhm.
So maybe it's a way to improve your skill too. Try to use more artificial intelligence, the conversational because you need to be very empathic and think, okay, what I need to explain and what I need to make clear for AI to understand what I need.
Mhm.
And then you are going to see in your relationships, you need to think in the same way. And if you start practicing this with AI and you see that you are going to be more assertive, and maybe if you ask AI to ask some questions to you to use it in a more way, you are going to see that it's kind of the same dynamic when you are in a relationship. You need
Mhm.
to always give more details, and if you ask the person or ask the person to make questions to you, it's going to make things clear, and then you are going to be more aligned with the perceptions each one has.
Yeah.
So to reflect,
I
AI with EI.
love it. I hadn't thought of it that way. That's a great
Do
metaphor and
you
also
use
a great exercise.
routine?
Yeah, yeah, I do.
Do you,
Mm.
yeah. So
Do you?
it needs to be very empathic.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's a
Yes.
good exercise. Also,
Okay.
like if you want to practice, maybe you're not ready to do it one on one. Maybe you can start by like doing the prompt thing and seeing how much information and how much detail you need to share in order for the other person to fully grasp what you want
Mm,
to say.
yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Very good. I think that's it for today. we were preparing this 40 minutes of live, and maybe if you put some comments, or we can see the reactions on Instagram. I don't know if you can say Instagram here, if YouTube has an AI that read this, but we can see other tips maybe for future to make more moments like this in a global point of view in English. Then you can join us and talk about another topic that I and Dani we can discuss here with you. I
Yeah.
really loved it to be here with you again, Dani. Thank you.
Thank you, Tati. And yeah, please do comment whatever you'd like for us to do again, or maybe have this space again with different topics, or yeah, if you have ideas about dynamics. But I really love doing this space with you, Tati, and I love it that we are um doing this in this platform so that we can get to more people with tips and tricks around how to take care of your mental health and
Yes.
that best version of yourself. So thank you once again, Tati.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, everyone that was watching us. Agda, always here. Thank you so much. Have a very nice week today, this week, Thursday and Friday, and see you in the next live. Thank you. Bye.